my channel, a little bit about everything. I recently had a carbide tool break on me. It was really working well, but I went and gave it too much feed. It was a thread cutter, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, 3 inches long, and it was a left to right cutter, right? The thinnest part's always on where it starts, so it's on the left, so it's left to right, so it can go up against the shoulder or flange of something I want to put threads on, right? And now the only thing available, is 3/8 by 3/8. So instead of making this scary shim pack for my lathe just to hold a cutter, I decided to make a tool holder. Okay. The area of my lathe that holds the tool, or the tool post, I'd like to get one of those wedge types with the interchangeable parts, but right now I can't afford it. So what I actually have is the old style holder type, or I shouldn't say, it's a turret type system where you can hold 4 bits, but it's not practical. You can't get angles like you could on a normal. Like for threading, you want to have set your compound rest at 30 degrees. Well, I have to rely on just clamping force to hold it in there, which it's not a setup that I like. And this has bolts, right? And they protrude underneath here, and you put your tool there, right? Whatever your cutter would look like. Okay, and you clamp down on it. Well, 3/8 by 3/8 from here to here, I only have 3/4 clearance. Oh no, sorry, 7/8. But you only can put a 3/4 tool in there. And I decided to build, it's not really a tool holder, but it's not like 10 different little shims holding one cutter. It's just one
today
big
is the
shim.
11th. Don't want to forget this part. So, sort of a rough, gotta focus in on something so you can see. If it wants to focus in on my thumb, right. This was done in a saw. So the surface finish on this is okay. There's no edges where you could get hurt. So I'm going to mark it off at 3 inches and 1/8 and chop it up in that saw. 3 1/8. Okay, so that's 3 1/8 right there. I need another pair of hands. There. So that's the length there. Okay, so I got my a fixed 1/2" end mill holder. Normally I would hold it with a collet, but they tend to want to spin in there if you feed too hard. So I got a dedicated holder here because I want to do some side milling here. And I'm using small parallels here, small shims. Okay, ow. Okay. So I want this to be high enough that I can mill. And this one is going to prevent it. I'll be able to go through here. I think I can go through there. Bring this down. Yeah, it'll work. There. Now, just gonna, oh, wrong wrench. Okay, so the way my machine is set up, it's like most conventional mini mills, right? Forward and reverse and off and on switch and my speed controller. I have a high and low range. That's why I can go from 50 to 1125, and I can go from 100 to, which is just double, 2250. Okay, and since this is a 1/2 inch, I'm not sure, it's just cold rolled steel, mild cold rolled steel. It's easier to machine, there's no scaling on it, which means it goes through a press or a set of rollers after it's cooled down and it's smushed or crushed into the form you want. It's easier on the cutters. Now if it was hot rolled, it has a scale on it and it's harder on the cutters. Whenever you have a hot roll steel, you want to make sure your first cut is underneath that heavy scale so that you don't wear out your cutter. Half inch, you can, the cutting speed for half inch on an end mill is between 70 and 100 feet per minute. So what you want to do is times it by 4 and divide it by the diameter. Well, I went for 80, which is 320, divided by half inch, which is 640 RPM. So this should do 640 RPM. But that's for just one cutter. So the feed, you would have a chip per tooth. If one tooth can do 8 thou per revolution and you have 4, well, you can feed it at 24 thousandths of an inch, no problem, because you have 4 cutters doing the same work as one. But you don't mess around with the speed. Speed always is the determining factor of the wear and tear. It causes the greatest wear on the cutter. Depth of cut is really what you want to think about. Now, am I in the frame here? I thought I grabbed a half inch, but they're 9/16 end mills. Let's take you over to the blackboard for a minute. Oh. Yep. I need to trip you up. Okay. It's getting chilly outside. An end mill run out of space. Chip per tooth. Rate. And feed. And the number of teeth. Okay. Now the speed, or the speed I should say, the formula is cutting speed times 12 divided by the diameter times pi. Okay, so if you cross this out to be correct, approximately two wavy lines would give you CS times 4 divided by the diameter of the cutter. So I know that for this material that I'm cutting, you're not going to see it, are you? It is between 70 and 100. Okay, times 4 divided by the diameter of the cutter, which is 9/16 in this instance. Okay, so
My machine doesn't have a power feed, so I got to do it by hand. So I'm just going to feed it in, and when I see the best cut possible, that's what I'm going to stick at. But if you were running this in a machine, right, you would do, let's say if you go 70 or 80 is going to be 360 divided by 9/16, which is probably around 600. So 600 RPM times the number of teeth, that's a four-tooth cutter, times the chip per tooth. Chip per tooth, that's a given, right? In my book, it's between 6 and 8. Okay, so let's go 8 thou equals my feed. Okay, so whatever that gives you, 24. Probably around 16 thou. I don't have a calculator on me, but that's it. And end mills have limitations, right? End mills have limitations. Okay, so since this is 9/16, okay, and let's say I want to know for side cutting, okay, on an end mill, what is it? Okay, the amount of feed or depth of cut, I should say, for side milling. For side milling, should not exceed 1/10 of OD. Okay, so if I'm taking a cut into a piece of material here, right, the distance between there and the side of my cutter, the depth of cut, should not exceed 1/10 of OD of cutter. Okay, the depth of cut shouldn't be 1/10 of the OD. So if it was 1/2 inch, I could take 1/10 of 1/2 inch, which is 50 thousandths of an inch. That would be the greatest depth of cut I could take. Now, for side milling, you want rigidity on your cutter. So it's best to take a 2-flute one, since the 2 flutes are stronger. Now, an end mill with 4 flutes is more for a finish pass, which is less than 1/10, right? Because you might chip some teeth, so you're better off with a 2-fluted cutter to do side milling. Okay? I'm going to be running the cutter at 30 thou and run my RPM at 600. This is too very fast. seems slow to me, but it says. Now I always try to keep everything as rigid as possible. So if you can choke up on the tool, there underneath it, lock this up, and just spin it on the side. Oh, never try to find your zero by putting the tool up against the part without it running. There, I'm getting in touch. So we'll call this 0. Okay. And I want to conventional mill. So since I'm rotating this way, I'm going to bring the part out this way. And I wouldn't have to, it sounds funny me talking right now about it. I'm not an expert at this by any means. So it's 2 thou per notch. I got 10 thou in there. I'll try 2 passes of 15. I like rigidity, so I don't want to push it, but I know you don't want to feed it too lightly either, because it will just be dulling your cutter. It has to dig into something. Okay, so that's my first pass. So I went 15. Go another 15. And maybe I can bring you in for a close-up. Open this up. You can see some slivers coming out, or chips. I hope it's cutting and not deflecting.
to work better if I feel it a little stronger, a little faster. Now, what kind of finish am I getting? Right there. And then now I'm going to try with a 4 flute. White skin for it. I'm going to call that 0. Try that again for some too. Yep. And I'm just going to feed in 10 cows. See what kind of finish I get. I guess it's like the saying, it's as good as it gets. My machine isn't rigid and it bounces off. So that's going to be it. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Bring you back after that. Well, I was using a 2-fluted 9/16 tin coated or titanium coated drill bit. The gold stuff. I think it's titanium. And those bits were nothing. They're no good. They're just appearance. I think it's soft steel underneath, not even high-speed steel coated with tin. They might do aluminium, but they sure don't do steel. I got a, that's a Morse end mill, Morse tools, high-speed steel, and it's doing a perfect job. It's only 2 flutes. No chatter, no nothing. I gotta go down into that work. Where's my finger? There it is. Oh, there you are. I gotta go down 531 thousandths into that. was some it's sort of like overshot, right? The cutter came out this way and left some hanging material. Those edges are sharp. Very nice cut though. Like, the finish is pretty good. And this is where I touched off to find my 0 point. I'm just going to deburr this with my new tool. If it works. Oh, worked good. There's an emergency somewhere. I don't know if you just want to grab attention or there really is an emergency. Sometimes they just do that for fun. Won't cut, but it's sharp. This is the cutter that I had. It's 1/2 inch shank by 1/2 inch, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's a fracture in the carbide here. I'm going to try regrinding it, but if it doesn't work, it's a Morse tool. See, Morse tool. It's ER8 Morse tool, and it says 370E, which means this is for steel and soft steel. The other one's for other types of metals, but this is the carbide for steel. So this is the only thing that they had. they don't make the 1/2 inch anymore, they only make 3/8 now for some reason. So if I take this coating off, taking off the coating on the tip, that's the grind. Okay, and this is going to help me set this up in my tool post. Yep, seems to fit. Now let's see if it's the right height.